Hello everyone, welcome to our monthly Q&A webinar. This is the first time I'm doing a Q&A style webinar live stream instead of the usual topical ones, and I moved this 1 week prior. But first, just tell me in the chat if you can hear me loud and clear. Um, So I hope you're able to hear the audio well, but it is so good to see you all in our November live stream. I am super excited for today because this is completely like an open-ended thing. I have not prepared any specific topic. Instead, I want you to ask some questions and answer those questions through this medium. I do have an Excel file, so I'll open that and I'll get into that in a minute. But for now, let's get started with some hellos and greet some of those regular viewers as well as the very people who are coming on to the stream for the first time. So I just we got some of the regulars like Bharatram, who is saying namaste. Hello Bharatram, how are you? And this is Eric, who is saying hello from Amersfoort, Netherlands. Hey Eric, how are you? Must be late in the afternoon, I think, evening for you. So, and David says hello. Hi David. And Philip is counting cup of coffees. I just went downstairs and made this cup of coffee. So I didn't bring my flask style cup because, yeah, I'm not gonna drink a lot of coffee. I've been having a little bit early start for the last 5 days now because I was running my first ever live Power BI cohort training. I finished that on yesterday. So we were doing that a whole week last week. And it was like an awesome experience. Just that I had to get up super early to get ready for the sessions. And by the time they would finish, it's almost 11 o'clock. So lunchtime. And I'm really looking forward to the weekend when I'll finish this and, chill out with my kids, I guess. David comes back and says it's 11 a.m. in Portland, Maine. That's not bad, actually. And we got Mahmoud from Egypt. Do tell me in the chat what you're drinking. What is it that you're doing right now as you get onto the stream? This is funny. Atul says you forgot to comb. I wish I could actually comb and control my hair. It's now completely gone crazy. So I decided to just leave it like that. It's about 5 a.m. So I just got up like an hour ago to get set for the session and make sure everything is ready. But this is the usual morning hair. So yeah. If you want what I offer, then you have to live with the hair. That's the rule. And this is Roberto. He says, hi from Brazil. Hi, Roberto. How are you? And Basim says, greetings from Cairo. It's 6 p.m. now. How is Bar Fani? Bar is doing super awesome. He's the most hardworking imaginary employee of the Awesome Chocolates company. So, and Ramesh says, hi Chandu, how are you? I am doing super good, Ramesh. How are you? How's your week been? And I hope you're looking forward to the weekend. We'll start taking the questions in a few minutes. So hold on to your questions on Excel. Of course, you're more than welcome to post them there. But and Ramesh says, hi Chandu, your hair is really super. Love. Thank you, Ramesh. My wife, who some of you know this, but most people may not, we actually studied together in college. So we kind of knew each other for 22 years now, when we were in college. And soon, around the final year of college, we started dating, and then we dated for several years before we got married. So during that time in college, she would now tell me, but she always thought that I would go bald. This is the trajectory on which I am. So she's like pleasantly surprised that I'm still not balding, and the hair keeps growing. Like every time we have like a reunion phone call with the rest of the school college friends, most people have receding hairline, and I still have hair, which is crazy. Raihan asks, when New Zealand will reopen for international students? I wish I know the answer, brother, but I have no idea really what the government policy is. They might open next year. After that, who knows? UCHOOB, I think a tube. He says, hi Chandu, which place in India you belong to? So I belong to Andhra Pradesh, and from in the southern India. But I kind of lived in different parts of India during my growing up and studies time. So I lived for some time in Tamil Nadu, and then I studied in Madhya Pradesh. I worked briefly in Mumbai, and all over the place really. But just before we moved to New Zealand, we were living in Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. So Dilip says, please speak one word in Telugu. Namaskaram. I'll speak many words, Dilip. In fact, Dilip is my brother's name. So I'm going to call you Tamudu. Tamudu, మీరు బాగున్నారా? నేనైతే చాలా బాగున్నాను. And so, yeah, which simply means, how are you, brother? Are you good? Okay, so what I will do is we're getting some nice messages in the chat. I'm just kind of waiting until people who are just signing into the stream they come. And this is Shayum Ahmad Chowdhury. He says, hi Chandu, thank you for your amazing contribution. Thank you so much, Shayum, for that nice words. And I really enjoy talking about technology, sharing whatever I'm learning, and building that community so that we, it creates that kind of like a positive environment where everybody is learning and sharing, and it contributes to all of our growth and well-being and happiness. So that's really what I want. I want all of us to be awesome. So I enjoy doing what I do. This is why I get up early. This is why I do everything. This is an interesting question. Atul asks, do you write a script before shooting? So normally I'm not writing script. I'm a little too lazy for that sort of thing. But what I do is I'll show you my working file. So I have a notepad on my desk. In fact, I'm kind of very notorious for keeping notepads with me all my life. And every time I'm shooting something like a video, I mean, for the live stream, there is literally no script. I do kind of write some bullet points. If I'm hazy about what I will say, or if I want to, for example, have a unusual or a humorous start to my video, like some of my videos have a small intro skit kind of thing where I do something with my family, or I introduce my clone Chantu into the video. So then I'll have to think about what's the sequence is like, so that I'm not really wasting time. But otherwise it's all freestyle. Abdul says, okay Chandu, you're not seeing any message of mine. Well, I saw this one, but you didn't ask me the question there. Okay, let me print the official Excel Q&A session message there. Welcome to the Excel Formulas Q&A session. As I said, this session is your session. You decide what gets covered. For that specific reason, there is no example file right now. But at the end of the stream, if I end up creating 2 or 3 workbooks, I will share them with you. I do have a very, very small presentation which will kind of take us through the process for getting into the stream. I was a little too ambitious with this stream because I thought, we could actually do like a live Zoom call thing as well for if someone wants to ask a question, but it's very hard to explain in the chat. You could call me on Zoom and ask me that. But I was kind of naive with that. I thought it will be easy for me to integrate all of that into my streaming setup. But in all likelihood, we are not going to do the Zoom call. So we will use the comments to drive most of the discussion, and then see that. But I did mention that, but I don't think I can go ahead with that because it was saying I need to install some additional software now, which is super crazy. I'm not going to do any installation now. So Karan says, yeah, hi Chandu, you're amazing in Excel. Hoping to see many more successes to you, buddy. Thank you, Karan. Thank you so much for that cheerful message. And you're also amazing for taking time to write that message. This is S. Lakani says, best contributor on your forum, Alan Sidman, Hui, VLOOKUP, and Bosco Yip. Oh, these are like rock stars. I mean, if you think what I do in Excel is good, you got to see what these people do on my Excel forum. They are like at a different level altogether, and they share such amazing tricks and ideas. Some time to time I would go there. Like when I created the forum, I was quite regular there, but very soon these people overtook me. It's like a race, and they just went way past beyond me. And then at one point I stopped even bothering going there because I'm like, okay, these people are so good, why am I even bothering? Deepshika says, please read my comments, sir. I'm Deepshika from Nandigama and I speak Telugu and it's 9 p.m. here. I'm eating dinner. Please call me Chelli. Hello Chelli, baunara miru. Chelli simply means sister. Hi Deepshika. I hope you're doing good. I have a very good school friend who used to live in Nandikama. So I'm born and brought up in Machilipatnam, and I studied in Vijayawada. So I'm kind of very familiar with where you are. Hope you're doing good. Enjoy your dinner. Danny says, why do you shoot live early morning? I could do this at any point of the day, and I would still not be able to reach out to a part of my audience. So I figured for live stream, early morning would work best for me because I'm an early starter. Just that I don't wake up at 4 a.m., but I do kind of wake up well before 6 on most days. And the second thing is it's kind of, there is no other disruptions when I'm doing the live stream, like kids are asleep. Nobody is there, the streets are super quiet, and most likely the internet connection will be smooth as well, so there's no disruption. So for all those reasons, I like to do it in the morning. I know it's for some people this timing is not working, like especially every time I do my live stream announcement, I get like at least 1 or 2 emails from my Australian friends saying, mate, it's almost midnight when you do this, because it's 5 in New Zealand. Most cities in Australia are at least 2 hours behind. So 3 a.m., some people 1 a.m. in the night, and they're like, nah, we're not going to attend this. So that's that. Anyway, we are getting like a lot of questions. I will, I'll address 1 or 2. These are generic questions, so I'm assuming this is all Q&A. Which company do you work for? I'm definitely not working for Secret Lab. That's just the chair company in which I sit. But I don't work for anyone. I work for myself. I have been running chandu.org as a business since 2010 middle. So yeah, almost 11 years now I've been self-employed. But from time to time, I do work with companies and government ministries here in New Zealand as a consultant or a contractor for some special projects. And then but it's not a full-time job. I usually do this like for 2-3 days a week. And that's a very, very good way for me to get into some industry or an area which I don't have any familiarity, learn about the technology, learn about people, learn about the processes, and then use that to enhance my material on the website or courses or my YouTube channel. Okay, so should we get into the presentation, and then when we do the 3 or 4 slides, I'll then come back. I'll start looking at some of these questions. I'll take up a topic. I'll talk a little bit, and then we'll see how this goes. I know people are getting really anxious, like, I want to ask the questions, and I can see that so many interesting questions are coming. But we'll just do the slideshow first, and then get into that. Meanwhile, feel free to get a sip of whatever it is that you're drinking and enjoy the show. Let's just share my screen. Ooh, not that. Slideshow. Excuse me while I figure this out, because I think it's going to the other screen. Primary monitor. All right. Here we are. Your Excel questions with Chandu. First up, I want to say a big thanks to everyone who showed up today, as well as some of my live streams that I did this year. This is something that new that I started this year, and I was quite nervous to get into live streaming, primarily because this adds a lot of unnecessary uncertainties, and things could go wrong. It's completely live. There is no way for me to go back and edit things out, or I wasn't even sure if people would show up for that. So I'm really happy with the way these live streams turned out. And more importantly, I'm really thankful and happy that you showed up to spend some time with me, share your messages and love, as well as learn and teach me. So big thanks to everybody who took some time out of their day to join me on the live stream. I also want to say thank you mainly for the other reason that this is going to be my last live stream for this year. The reason why I pulled it 1 week prior is because next weekend is actually Thanksgiving holiday in US, and then the last week of December, I usually do the live stream on the last Friday of the month. So last week of December, we got the Christmas holidays. So this is my last live stream for 2021. I will actually do the live stream again next year at the either end of Jan or at the end of February, depending on what happens during my holiday schedule. But I want to take this opportunity to face to face thank you all for attending the live streams, being with me on this journey. I was actually quite curious just beforehand to see what kind of reception these live streams had or at an overall level, and it is completely overwhelming. Like, I was just counting how many chat messages people left on the live stream videos that I've been doing. So some of you might know, but I've been doing live streams every month since February, every month on the last Friday. So about 10 videos, 10 live streams I've done, and over 5,000 chat messages. That is completely overwhelming. Many of you have written to me to say how you enjoy my content and all of that. So it is amazing and it is awesome. Thank you so much for being with me, and I wish you a very, very happy end of the year, because I will of course put some other messages on my channel, and there will be regular videos anyway until the end of the year. Only thing, live stream, this is the last one. Next year is the first one. So I thought this is a good point for me to say the thanks personally. What's going to happen today? You ask questions, I'll try to answer them, And then we will discuss my answers if you have some follow-up questions in the chat and comments. And then we will take more questions. As simple as that. It's a very, very simple process, really. Ask questions. I'll try to answer them. I made up some random data of awesome chocolates in an Excel file. So I'll try to use that as a basis to help you. But if I'm not able to do a good job, or if your question is something that requires me to create some other data set, then I'm not, then I will generally talk about it and maybe show you which button or which formula is gonna give you the answer that you want. This is the slide that I was talking about. I was hoping to do a live Zoom call thing because certain questions you cannot type like even 7 sentences and explain them. It's a lot easier if you call me and tell. So I thought I'll do like a link through which you can call me. It will open up the Zoom meeting and I could invite you into the Zoom call and I could screen share and all. The thing that I hadn't realized is you can hear my voice, but it will all be useless if you can't hear what the other person is saying. And for that to happen, apparently there needs to be some other software installed, which I found out too late in the process. So I'm not going to do this thing. I just left the slide out. So before we begin, what's going to happen with the rest of the stuff, how to ask questions, what is download and what is super. So I will post some completed Excel workbooks, whatever example I will show on the screen, those I will combine into 1 or 2 files and then I will post that. But after the stream, I don't have any workbooks for you right now. Instead, we will just, you could use Excel, made up some random data or whatever and then watch it. But at the end of the stream, if I have anything significant, I will put that as a link in the video description from which you can download. You are, of course, this whole point is you can ask questions. So start your questions with Q. That way, when I'm reading your chat messages, I can see your question. And please stay on the topic. The topic for today is Excel related data analysis through formulas. That's the kind of narrowed down topic. You are more than welcome to ask questions on Power BI, pivot tables, DAX, and whatever else that you can think of, but I may not be able to address those. But if you stay on the topic, which is data analysis through Excel, then I will try to help you out maximum. Again, we have 200 people on the stream as of now. So if everybody asks a question and it takes 5 minutes for me to answer, I won't be done. So I'll try to answer as many as possible, but I'm not really making any promises. And if you asked a question and I haven't come to you, please do not repeat. It will just clog up the messages and it's not going to help anyone. And you can, of course, support the stream as well as this with a super chat or a super message. It is really simple and it's a fun way for you to support me. All you got to do is just click on the dollar thingy there and select an amount or an icon and send it to me. So very, very simple process. Again, some of you love to do it, so I thought that's what I'll show. All right, we'll start with the joke and then we'll go from there. What do stargazers do? They spreadsheet and look up. I'll go now. Let's go into Excel. I'll look at your questions and then we will we'll get there. All right. Eric asks. Eric is one of our regulars, so let's see what he has. What are cube functions? Where, when do you use them? Cube functions are a set of functions that are available in Excel that you can use to talk to the data model functionality of Excel. So some of you already know this. Excel has a data model functionality, which is kind of loosely Power Pivot essentially. And you could use Power Pivot to make pivot tables. But sometimes you don't want to make a pivot table. You want to get the data that is in the pivot table as a formula. So for regular pivot tables, we got get pivot data, which you can use to talk to pivot table, get the data. But Power Pivot is a whole another beast. So this is where the cube formula comes in. Cube formula is a set of formulas using which I can talk to pivot tables get some information out of the pivot table when the pivot table is constructed through Power Pivot and use it. Now, that is what a cube function. Where do you use them? I almost never use these functions. Again, that's simply because I find them that they're a bit too clunky to work with. I wish they are rather simple to work with, but problem is they are somewhat tediously designed and probably put there for certain other purposes, but they are, in my opinion, clunky to work with. I don't almost use them. I do use them from time to time to enhance a certain thing on my dashboard where there is literally no other alternative and I have to use them. So unfortunately, I haven't got any articles on my website on cube functions that go beyond the basics, but I want to say Chris Webb has got some excellent articles on these. So I'll just say Chris Webb cube functions. Yep. Oh, this is probably an older one, newer one. Yeah, so somewhere on one of these websites, I think his website is what I remember, has got like a set of tutorial that go through how you do this. But here is another cheat way. This is what I normally use to get the cube functions, is you would make a pivot table. So I got some made up data here, our usual awesome chocolates data. So I'll insert a pivot table, making sure that I'm adding this to data model. So we will add this. This is how you trigger the Power Pivot side of things. And then you make a pivot table. Now here I can make any pivot table. I'm just going to make a very, very simple pivot table, which is we'll see sales by geography. So we get some sort of a number. This is a pivot table. And if I use equal to and point to my pivot, assuming I got my generate pivot, get pivot data, I'll get my usual get pivot data thingy. This is not what we want. We want the cube function. So once we have this, you can select any cell in the in this data model pivot table, go to analyze, and from here, fields, items, and sets, OLAP tools. From there, you can convert to formulas, and this will pink the screen, and then it will give you a formula-based version of that pivot table, which uses the cube function. So it will write those cube formulas for you to tell you if you were to use the cube value function on this, you will get that. The beauty of this is it's all linked, so I can change from Australia to USA here, and this formula will give me the USA value. So it's a cheat way of generating the cube functions for you and then testing them out, learning a little bit more. As I said, they're very clunky. Sometimes it's not even sure exactly what's happening, how the result is coming. So yeah, there you go. So that's the cube functions. I want to say thanks to Bartram for the super sticker. Thanks, Bartram. And let's see the next question here. Jagoda asks, is there a simple way existing function without VBA usage that can give us RGB code of a cell background? Now, unfortunately, at least as far as I know, there is no such function. They might eventually add something in future, or I could be even totally wrong right now. But as much as I know, there is nothing in Excel that you could use to get the color of the cell or the color of the text without using VBA. You could create a very simple user-defined function in VBA to do this. I'm not even going to show that, but you could do this if you want. Okay, let's see this one. Yam would like to learn something with date and quantity for periodical rental charges calculations. This is required for third-party logistics company. Do you want to elaborate that? I'll watch out for your subsequent comment, yeah, but can you give me what you are looking? If you are looking for general information on how to work with dates and all of that, then my suggestion is you go to my website and you can even just search on Google, but if you want something that the way I teach, then probably here is another option. And then search for date. In fact, I think that's the second article there. And, some of these are older articles that I keep updating. So here is a good starting point, because Excel dates are somewhat tricky to understand if you're coming from other softwares and you don't view dates as numbers, but everything is a number. So this one kind of gives you a good level of detail on how to get started with dates. And more importantly, it also has some additional pointers for you to take your journey. So yeah, start there. Because you're putting longer messages, I'm not even sure if I can answer your questions, but I'll flash them on the screen. That way it's very easy for me to read and everyone can also read. Luke asks, what are the key skills for an accountant? I've started learning Power Query. Would you recommend anything else similar? I am not an accountant. I never worked as an accountant, nor am I qualified to be an accountant. So my answer is not going to be the final word on this. But I do have many accountant and finance friends who happen to be working rigorously in Excel fields as well. So I do know what is it that either they learn or they struggle with. So that's my perspective. I feel like Power Query is like the lowest hanging fruit that everybody should grab. So if you have not, of course, Luke is already learning, but if anybody else out there, even if you're not an accountant, you're not learning Power Query, you're only hurting yourself. So just go and learn Power Query. If there's only one thing that you're taking away from this live stream, that should be that is learn Power Query. End of the day, end of the thing. So learn Power Query. Power Query will give you quite a bit of freedom and flexibility when it comes to dealing with crap data that we get day in and day out in business situations. Okay, you're almost never going to get anything that is clean cut from any systems that you export, any sources that provide you data. There is always going to be some drama there, and Power Query will reduce that and simplify your day. This has gone really cold. Now, apart from Power Query, what else do you learn? So there is obviously a whole heap of date and finance related and number related formulas in Excel, which become essential for people who are working with money and finance related data in Excel. So setting aside some time to at least give all of them a go and see when you would use what, how you would use them. So that's a good skill. The other thing that people kind of forget, like, they'll say, oh, I know VLOOKUP, I know SUBTOTAL, I know SUMIFs. But another important skill when it comes to learning these things is you want to learn not using these words in isolation, but how to combine them. Like, how do I combine this word with that word to make a sentence? Because learning words is like reading a dictionary. It has no purpose other than knowing the meaning, whereas learning to speak is a more valuable skill. So that's what you want to learn. So learn how to combine them and obviously learn how to use other tools in Excel that simplify this and do the same job. So that means learning pivot tables, learning some of the screen features that will simplify your job. So yeah, that's the thing. Anil sends a super sticker as well. Thanks, Anil, for that. And I'm going to see what Manish is asking here. How do you use VLOOKUP on merged cells when occurrence of each merged cell size is different? Okay, you got me here, right? You asked about merged cells. I was not even planning to tell this joke, but you asked this. I'm going to tell this joke before we get into the actual answer for this. So, a couple of technology people, they all do some scams and they all get arrested. So they go to the jail. But two technology people, let's just say they are testers. Okay, I don't have any negative feelings towards testers. I'm just making this up. So two testers, they're buddies with the jail warden. So then they go to the warden and then they request the warden, hey, can we stay in the same cell? Okay. So the warden was like, okay, I will let you stay, but if your current roommate, the cellmate, has any objections, then I won't let you do it. So the warden then arranges a meeting with the roommate of the cellmate of this testers, and that cellmate happens to be okay, let's just call them an accountant. Again, nothing against accountants either. So the accountant says, no, I object to it. But the warden is like, what's your objection? And then the accountant says, no, I just object to it. But then the warden is like, no, I'm going to do it. So he takes these two and then they now have their own cell. Okay. Fast forward 3 months, these two testers dig a hole and escape from the jail. And then the warden is like, really pissed off. He's angry. He's mad. He's like, oh, what's happening in my jail? So then he comes back to this accountant and then says, I should have listened to you, man. They escaped. And then the accountant simply says, I told you merged cells are bad. That's the joke. It's a bad joke, but I have fun making up these jokes. Anyhow, how do you use VLOOKUP on merged cells? That's the question. It's a very, very simple thing. If you have a merged cell in your Excel spreadsheet, well, let's make one. This is cube demo. So let's say got 1 here, 2 there, 3 there. This is a single cell. We will merge this. We will merge that. I'm gonna enable border so we can see how big these merges are. And if I say sum, you asked about VLOOKUP, but it's the same logic irrespective of how you do it. It's gonna be 6 irrespective of how the merges are. 6 because that's the total value. Now let's see what happens with sum of, and I pick these. I want to sum up the D column, but as a select, because there's a merged cell, it expands. So we'll say D2 to D5 or D4, that alone. Now you would think this would be 2, but it'll be 0, because even though this is merged, the merge is at a visual level. At the backend level, the data is still in the very first cell. So only B2 has the value. So column D sum is 0. But if I write a sum of B2 to B4, that'll be 6. So if I just sum up these 3 cells, I'll get 6. I don't need to sum up the whole thing. So this is the basic concept. Sometimes we have to merge because that's what we need on the screen level. So we end up merging. But irrespective of what you do internally, the value is always in the top left cell of the merged region. So as long as you keep that, you can do. If you have merged cells and you need to do some processing on that, my suggestion to you is figure out if you can unmerge, which will save you a lot of time and help you write better formulas. But if you cannot do that for whatever reason, maybe use Power Query to transform this data and get you a cleaner cut easily. Jagoda sends in a super sticker as well. Thank you, Jagoda. And Luke asks a follow-up question. What other low-hanging fruits would you say are great other than Power Query? I would say once you are good with Power Query, immediately latch on to pivot tables. Many people underestimate how good pivot tables are and somehow get into formulas before understanding and appreciating what pivot tables can do. And then it's all, a lot depends on So for example, I'll tell you, I've never worked as an accountant, so I can't really give you from that side. But I always surprised like how easy it is to impress people. uh, if you can, anybody can make a spreadsheet that calculates things, but if you can spend a little bit of time polishing it and making sure that it looks good, that will take you a lot further. Because what we are doing at the end of the day with Excel is we are building things so that other people can understand information. So as long as you keep that in mind and then think that whatever I'm doing is for someone else to read, then you will always ask the question, how do I make it better? And that kind of tidying up and making things look good is a step that all too often people forget. But if you just do it, it only takes 10 minutes, and over time you will improve your efficiency in that. That will be very, very quick way to impress people. I have had throughout my career when I was working as a business analyst, and even when I do consulting, every time I put together a nice looking spreadsheet, of course it needs to be accurate, it needs to give correct detail, but a nice looking spreadsheet, I always got appreciation, and it helped me further my cause. So I hope that's something that you will take. It's not a low hanging fruit, but it's something that we forget to pick up when it is there. All right, let's see what Pratik is asking. Hi Chandu, I am from Chennai, cinema industry. So we do a lot of forecasting of footfalls and sales, but not sure how to do it with formula. So how do we forecast data in Excel 2010 and plot it on chart? You could do a lot of different modeling with this. Forecasting is a very, very interesting area, and there is more to it than what I could say in the next 5, 10, or even 300 hours for that matter. So whatever I'm saying, take it with a pinch of salt. What I would recommend to you is many industries and many scenarios and models will have some sort of a cyclical nature. So for example, if I am running a cinema hall, I would naturally expect that more people will show up to watch a cinema in the weekend or on Fridays rather than on a Wednesday afternoon. So there is a cyclical pattern that is going on. So that is something that you need to keep in mind when you are forecasting. I'm just going to open up this file. It's going to take me a while to look it up because so I'll flash this on the screen. If you go to my channel and see the uploads, one of the recent videos that I did is 10 things you thought Excel couldn't do, but it does them so well. I'm not trying to promote my other videos. This video literally starts off with this question, like how to forecast in Excel. It doesn't use Excel 2010. So my first suggestion to you, even before I get into anything else, is get an updated version of Excel. You're already 11 years behind. Don't let an old version saddle you, because newer versions offer better functions. So here I got my coffee sales, which kind of have a cyclical pattern, and I'll show you quickly how to get this. This is the tip in that video. You can use 2016 or any other version from there on, which has forecast.ets functions, which are a bit more sensitive towards that seasonal trends and all of that. So if I go to if I go to data and then forecast sheet, Excel will do most of the heavy lifting. It sees that this is the pattern, so here is how your forecast could look like. I can use the options and then set my seasonality to 7 days, which immediately improves my performance of the graph, and I can even predict it for next several weeks. And notice that Excel saw that you have this sawtooth pattern and it picked up that, and it will show those things. So an amazing function, and definitely recommend checking this out. This is the first starting point. You could get more complicated into these modelings with using linear or multiple regression functions, or building a more complicated model using different parts, all using Excel. You don't need anything complicated unless you have like a jillion rows of data or something. So definitely would recommend that, but please get into a newer version of Excel. 2010 is really old. So that's a little bit about that. I just want to give shout out to some of these super chats that are coming in. Malleswara Tarun sends in a super chat, and Jayaraj sends a super chat. Pedro sends in a super chat. Thank you everybody. And Malleswara sends one more with Excel VBA BI crash course available less than 6 months. I'll definitely address that in a minute. Let me just see. Yeah. So do I have any crash courses on one of these things? I don't. I do have full-time courses that go on to these things. And then, of course, there's YouTube channel where I have lots of free content. Free doesn't mean easy or simple. There's quite in-depth content that is there. And then monthly live streams are a very good way for you to learn a specific topic. But if you're looking for something that is well-designed and gives you everything that you need from a data analyst or a business person kind of a perspective on learning all of that, then I highly recommend checking out the Excel School program. Again, the intention of this live stream is not to sell you anything. You can look at it, consider it, and if you think this is going to help you, purchase it, because that way you are learning something new. You're also supporting your creator, and it's a win-win for all of us. So Excel School is that program that I recommend to you, Malleswara. Check it out. This is a course that I designed many years ago and then constantly revised it, keeping up with the newer versions of Excel. The whole purpose of this course is to teach you how to be very good with Excel when it comes to doing data analysis and dashboard reporting style work. So it's a fairly advanced course. You will get Power Query, you will learn how to use pivot tables, data model, how to make advanced interactive charts, how to combine and match formulas, how to use conditional formats, slicers, and all sorts of things. You could read through this page. You can see some of the demos of what I built, what I teach my students to build. Some of these are like really complicated dashboards and reports that take a lot of working, and all of that is explained in a very beautiful manner. So yeah, check it out. If you think this will help you, sign up. There's links for that. You can go for a similar program called VBA classes, another course that I run. You can go for that alone, or you can combine this and that. I do have another course on Power BI, and you could also sign up for that if you want that similar pattern, but for Power BI. All right, let's see what else is happening here. Cheryl asks, greetings, I'm an accountant. I need to become an expert in Excel. I know just the basics. Which version would you recommend? What would you recommend how I start? We did talk a little bit about Luki's situation. So I think same advice will apply for you. Learn the things that are easy to start off with. So probably start off with Power Query, and then pivot tables, structuring and managing your data and working with data, how to get around functions and all of that. If you want a course, again, Excel School is what I would recommend. But as I said, you don't have to go through any course. You can learn also on your own or whatever works for you. So yeah. All right, let's just see this one. Nagaraj says, is there a formula which is like some product if or some product ifs, similar to some if and some ifs? Some product is that formula, my friend. It is quite powerful. It can do whatever you want. That said, I have I used to have a very long love affair with some product. I have got quite a few of articles on some product on my blog that go into quite a bit of detail, and I used it quite a lot. And And we have even guest articles written by other people on my website that go into greater detail on some product. These days, I don't use some product that much because there are other dynamic array functions available in Excel, such as filter, which could also do these things. So if you give me an example, I'll show you what formula you could use. I might actually miss that message, but yeah, if you're still there, Nagaraj, feel free to post that and I'll watch out for your name. So Shabari asks, Chandu, you're starting the Power Excel education with Laila Gharani. I'm not sure what do you mean by starting something with Laila. I don't have any course that we together are doing. We do kind of do stuff on our own, but we appear on conferences and things like that. So somehow maybe that was confusing. But if you're asking if I have any courses, then I have Excel School, which I just showed on the screen, which is a comprehensive Excel course that kind of goes into Power Query, Excel, data model, all sorts of stuff. So feel free to check that out. Yahya asks, merging data in one sheet from multiple Excel files. Okay, this is a question that many people asked in various forms, either here or in my other posts where I ask you, what do you want to learn? I always get a feel that, people have something like this, like I got data that is there, I want to merge. How do I do this? The easy answer, you can do this with Power Query. I'll do a quick demo so that we will all see how to combine data. This will help you combine the data. It will help you reconcile the data. If the data is in different places, it will save you heaps of time. And the best part is it's all automatic. The other thing that I want to remind is this combining data. This is my YouTube calendar, by the way. Every month I print this and I write which videos are going live. So I was just looking when this video is going out. It's literally going out. What's the date today? Yeah. So next Tuesday, I'm actually posting a video on how to combine multiple worksheets using Power Query in an automated manner. So that video is coming up next week. So you could also kind of rewatch the whole thing, but I'll do a quick demo now. So over to Excel. I'll open a new workbook just so we have something to use. You asked the question, one sheet from multiple Excel files. The technique is exactly same. So I'll show you a different method, which is one sheet from multiple sheets. We'll assume that there's multiple sheets and we just want to combine that. So for the purpose of this, we'll just be lazy. We'll print some numbers here. You can type the numbers. There's Excel functions as well. Just because we are learning, I'll show you this one. You can generate a random array of 10 numbers with minimum of, let's just say 30, maximum is 90, and they are all integers. So I'll get some 10 numbers there. This is sheet 1. I'll make a copy into 3 sheets. Because it's a random function, each sheet will have different values. Okay. We will replace this, Control C, right click values, so that there is no active formula running. This way what happens is that we can easily verify the results. So we got sheet 3 has 50 as the starting. Oh, this one has also 50. I think we copied this. And then to make things interesting, I'll change the sizes of these. So one sheet has 10 values, the next one has 9, and then the last one has 7. It doesn't matter really. So we got three sheets. You can name these. So we will name this as Jan, Feb, and then March. So 3 worksheets, each named according to the month. Now assume this is how your accounting department sends you data. Every month they'll add a tab and then send it to you, the budget file. And your job as the finance controller is to combine all of this, come up with one picture that gives all the data. So we'll save this guy. Live Q&A multi-sheet. No, I didn't think I correctly named it, but doesn't matter. And then we go to a new workbook. Right here, I would like to combine all the that workbook, get all the 3-sheet data here in one go as a big table. So it's kind of like that. So you could go to data, get data from file from workbook. So this is the key. You could use Power Query in Office 365, 2021, 2019, 2016, even in 2013 as an add-in. So this is something that has been out there for a good part of time now. And it's very easy to use once you get started. So we'll say from workbook. I won't go into the inner details of everything here. I'll just be like very quick. But as I said, there's a video coming up and I have many other Power Query videos on my channel. So I'll put a link to them in the video description later on. Feel free to check them out. So we'll go multiple sheet, import. Now the fun part is Power Query finds that there are 3 tabs, so it will list them, but you can only import one at a time or you can import multiple. If you import one, then you will get that one. If you import multiple, then you'll get 3 different queries. We don't want either. We would like to combine all of this into one table. So I'm just going to pick any one. We'll just pick Jan for that matter. We'll go to transform data. And this is where I can tell Excel how I want my data to be manipulated and combined. So here I can just say, I don't want just Jan alone. I want everything. So this is just the Jan data. We don't want Jan alone. We want all of them. So we'll delete all of these steps, go to source, and here I can see all my tables. We will keep name and data, right click and remove other columns. So only this is there, and then expand this thing so that all my data along with month name comes up here. The name is nothing but your spreadsheet name. So whatever is the name of the tab, that will come up here. And then this is my all data. We'll give it a name and then close and load. And bingo, our data is here, combined, nice and clean. Now you can save this as combined data. The beauty of all of this is a dynamic connection. So if your original file changes, all you have to do is come back and refresh this. So let's test that. We'll open this guy here. I'll go to Jan. Notice that everything is a 2-digit number. We'll make this 4563. And then we'll put Chandu here. And then we will add one more. We'll call this as April. And then 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. Hello. So we'll put some other data here, close this, come here, right click and then refresh. And you'll get all the data, including the April data at the bottom. This is what Power Query does. This is one of the many things that Power Query does. Right now, just literally in 2-3 minutes, you built a program in Excel that will automate this job. Once you build it, that's it. You can forget about it. Every time something changes, it'll all come through. But you can also add more complicated stuff. So if this is your first time coming across this black magic, then what I recommend to you is go to my channel after the stream, of course, and then look for a Power Query video. I got a very good video. This is a video that I posted a while ago, but every day I get like hundreds of people going through that and telling me how good it is, and they learn. So I'm just looking for. Yep, this is. So this is the Power Query tutorial. What is it? How to use it? It's a 1 hour 24 minutes video. I recorded it, so there is no live stream style of interruptions or anything. It's properly edited and it goes into great detail. And you can see all these comments and everything. It's an amazing video. Just definitely check it out and learn from there, from beginning to end. All right, so that is that. I think I missed quite a few messages and chats. But let's just see what else is happening. This is an interesting one. Daniel says, what's your way around sorting tables with array functions without copy paste values? So let's take a look at that. I'm gonna save these things. So here I got some product data. I prepared some sample file data set just in case, we get some questions which can be answered. And this is my product and their cost per unit information. And I want a copy of this table here, but sorted by cost per unit in a dynamic way. So if this changes, that should change. So this is where the new functions in Excel can be useful. You can use the sort function, sort, and then give the name of the table. So the name of the table is products, and then specify the column. So the column is second column, and then I want it in the descending order, so -1, and then it will sort that so that the product with the highest price goes on the top. This will only sort the data. It won't sort, it won't have the header information, but I can get the headers as well, which is products headers, and then the headers will also show up there. The best part is this is a formula. So if something changes here, so for example, my milk bars are not 933 but 1933. Notice that that is the highest number now. They'll go to the top here automatically. So this is the sort. There is another sort function called sort by. You could use that as well to do some sorting operations. And you could get creative with these things in combination with certain other things, and that will give you a better option. So Ramon asks, what are good resources that you recommend for a uni student, I think, beginning in data analytics? I have beginner's Excel experience. Obviously, you are at the right resource. I am your resource. But jokes aside, there's quite a few places where you could go. In fact, before the thing, I wrote down the recommendations that I'm going to talk about. These are some books that I would recommend: Excel for Data Analysis and Business Modeling by Wayne Winston, and Excel Bible by, it's no longer by John Walkenbach, but I think Mike Alexander is writing that. So those books are very, very good books. I have got the links to them in the video description right now. You can check them out. And the other Excel channels that I recommend that you subscribe or at least watch some videos to get a good hang is Laila Gharani. She puts out some very high quality, amazing videos on all topics of Excel. Mr. Excel from Bill Jelen, and Excel is Fun from Mike Girvin. So these are the three places that I personally go to learn. So yeah, you should also go and learn. And some websites, my website and blog, chandu.org/WP, has more than 1,000 articles on various topics of Excel, Power BI, Power Query, and Power Pivot. Mr. Excel Forum for some questions, and Stack Overflow for other Excel related questions. So these are the places. All of this exact whole thing is in the video description right now. So go and check it out, and feel free to get anything. I mean, these are all my good friends, and I support them and I learn from them, and I want you to learn from them as well. All right. Rishabh asks, is there a way to retain formulas in CSV file upon closing and reopening? No. CSV file by definition is just storing your data in a comma separated format. It cannot store your formulas. How do you use Sparkline? Is it good for presentation? It is very good for presentations and reports. It's very easy to create. There's a tutorial on my website that I recommend checking out on Sparklines. Subhash asks how to convert 3.10 into 310 and make time calculation. So let's do that. Time calc. we'll call this as time number and then the next one as time value. I'm not even sure why you would have 3.10 and want to mean 310. But let's just say, this is the problem with most of the things that we do. We end up having data that is not clean or good looking, and we'll have to deal with that. There are many ways to do it. I would say, if possible, automate the whole thing with Power Query. But let's just say you got this in Excel. We'll throw a few more things there. 0.23. I don't know how you would convert that. 4.65. Now, what would you do here? And 3.01. So I'll put these things. And then at this point, you need to define a rule on what needs to be happening. So if you universally agree that anything integer is hours and anything decimal is minutes, if that's the policy that you're going with, then all you have to do is generate a time value where hours is the integer portion of the number and minutes is the decimal portion of the number multiplied by 100 or whatever. So we can use the time function. Hour is my integer of this, and then minute is the decimal portion. So here there's a couple of different ways to calculate what is the 0.10. You could, for example, use mod function to divide something with 1. So what this will do is it will give you the modulo or the remainder. So 3.10, when it is divided by 1, the remainder will be 0.10. And then times 10, 100. And then seconds is 0. So you'll get 310. And then you can just do it like this. Notice what happens here. This is because we've gone past 60 minutes. So it's 65 minutes, which will then take it to 5.05. So this is that. If that's not the correct way of representing this data and there needs to be something else happening, like rounding it to 60 or something, then you can add an extra condition in the formula to take it up to 60 or, flag an error or whatever else. So Robert asks, is Excel a relational database? Excel is not any sort of database. Excel is Excel. Excel is a spreadsheet where you keep the data. People use all sorts of things to do in Excel, and you might have seen people implement some sort of database functionalities with Excel and maybe using VBA or other stuff. I am not either pro or against these things. Whatever works for you, you should do it. That's fine. But if you do need a relational database for whatever purpose, then my friend, go and use a relational database, not Excel, because that will offer you security, data integrity, and it will simplify your job. But Excel can deal with relational databases. So if you have 5 tables, they're all linked together, and you want to use that tables and linkages to do some calculations on your end, you could use Power Pivot and from data ribbon, relationships button, this is the button, to set up the table relationships within Excel and then do whatever you want with that. Okay, I've got some videos on my channel that talk about how to use the relationships and how to set up Power Pivot. So check them out later on if you want. Alternatively, you can give it a go and then see. Simon says, hi Chandu, I'm late to session. Sorry, but I have an issue when using Power BI for a source. It comes into Excel as a pivot table, but I cannot add anything to values, only rows. Any ideas, please? It's okay. You can be late to the session. This is not like a class or anything where we kickstart exactly. I'm not taking any Power BI questions, but because I can't read them on the thing, I usually flash them. So I put that there. But I have not personally tried too much of export to Excel functionality within Power BI. So I'm not able to give you a proper answer right now. But yeah, maybe search on the Power BI forum, I guess. Um, all right, let's see what get at me 30. I have sales data. I have sales data I import from and sort out various product sales using formulas, but when sale prices change, it becomes too cumbersome to manual. I was thinking lambda and XLOOKUP combo to automate. So maybe I'm missing the question, but and I'm not even sure why you would need lambda there. Yeah, if you are already thinking of using something, just use it. But if you have a question, feel free to post that there. I'll watch out for that. All right, let's just see. Stefan sends a super sticker as well. Thank you. Thank you for being a resource. I'm learning through your videos. Thank you, Stephen, for your support as well. And thanks for that message. All right, let's see this one. I'm working with large data sets across multiple worksheets. Is it better to use VLOOKUP or index match in extracting the info I ultimately need? I'm not going to get into this stick fight of VLOOKUP versus index match. Whatever works for you, use it. Unless you're dealing with like literally 1 million row tables, you will not find any serious speed limitations for a single formula that you're typing. There are many other things that can impact the performance. There's quite a bit of discussion on my website, and I talked to some other Excel experts on my channel a while ago. I think we talked about which one works. But here is the thing that I will say that kind of changes the perspective, because many times we think that we are in this room with only two doors, VLOOKUP door and index match door, and the only way to get out of the room is to open one of these two doors. But what you need to be thinking is you need to think outside the cell. Okay, this is a Excel pun, but essentially see if there is other things in Excel that will solve this problem or make this problem irrelevant for you. So one classic example is large data sets across multiple worksheets. There, your data is split in multiple places. So why not consider using the Power Query approach that I just showed to reconcile the data and then send the data to pivot tables? That's one option. Second option, if the data cannot be like same data split, but it's different data sets, like sales in one place, products in another place, why not use the relationships to connect the data and then use pivot tables to drive your calculations? So all of these are other options available to you at your disposal. So don't think this versus that. There's more to this than what you could do. But if you're using either of them and you're not really having any speed issues, you're not having any other problems, then there is no need to change. Just continue the course until you hit a wall and then figure out what to do. Okay. We're going to take some serious political questions now. Rajan Gadi asks, India New Zealand cricket match, which side you are? I felt sorry when New Zealand lost their first ODI a couple of days ago. But I was actually really surprised that they just finished the T20 World Cup and then they went to India. I mean, even India was playing there. So, and then they just go there and then they start playing again. Like, and I was like, what? Didn't they just finish playing like a World Cup? And how come there's another set of cricket games starting already? Like, where is some gap and rest and recuperation time for these people? So it felt a bit strange to see that, there's back-to-back games. But yeah, I I don't know. I enjoy cricket. I'm happy if India wins. I'm happy if New Zealand wins. I can celebrate both ways. So yeah. But I felt really sorry when New Zealand lost the T20 World Cup to Australia. So yeah. But I think they're very good players and they'll probably bounce back. And I was telling Joe, my wife, that when next year the T20 World Cup happens in Australia, and if travel is allowed and there's not so much of COVID drama happening all over the place, we should probably go and watch some games. So you might see me live streaming from MCG. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. All right, enough cricket. Let's talk more XLA. Casper asks, what is the best resource to understand operators? Can be used in formulas, filters, and array formulas. That's a very, very good question, Casper. Some of you don't know this, but other people might know this. I used to have a podcast. Okay, I ran 53 episodes or 54. I don't remember exactly how many. And this used to be like a once every 2 weeks affair a while ago. After we moved to New Zealand, I stopped doing the podcast. But between 2012 and 2015, I think I did that many episodes. So one of the episodes on my podcast is so it's a episode on exactly this, the operators. I think it's very funnily all about Excel operators. So this is the podcast that I would recommend. This goes into greater detail on all the operators. It's probably an hour-long episode that goes into various operators, explains them. You can just set it up, go for a long walk, enjoy it. All of these episodes are available on my website, so you can still listen. I'm no longer doing the podcast. I might actually revisit this and set up podcast, but I'm enjoying the live stream, so I'll do this for now. But yeah, that the only limitation for this podcast episode is it was recorded. When did I record this? This is December 2014. So a long time before the array formulas, dynamic array formulas got introduced. So there is no mention of the spill or the hash operator in that sense. So that information is not there, but everything else is there. So please check that out, Casper. You might enjoy it. Pedro asks, I developed several dozen Lambda functions. How should I replicate them in a new worksheet? So I have a confession to make here. I haven't written a single Lambda function so far in my life. This is because I'm, as I said many times on my channel and my live stream as well, I'm a little lazy on the second. So I don't want to install the beta version of Excel just to test out the Lambda. I want to wait until the Lambda is actually generally available and then play it out just like most of you do. I'm still on the insider program, but not on the super insider program where the Lambda is available. So I haven't tried the Lambda, but I did watch many videos, read many articles, participated in discussions, and even debated with people about whether Lambda is a good idea or not. So I'm well versed in the topic. It's just that personally I have not written them. I have written Lambdas in Python and other languages, so I know what the concept is. So with that note, what I think I can tell you is that Microsoft is still building functionality around both development and usage and usability of the Lambdas. So there might even be a future feature in Excel where you can kind of create a repository of Lambdas and roll them out or kind of export and import them. I don't know whether that's the case right now, but otherwise you may have to just simply copy paste them into a notepad file and use that, or I don't know, maybe just put them somewhere else in another file and add as a template and make files from that. Yeah. And I see that we have got Excel exercise who is helping out people. Big thanks to you, Excel exercise, for responding to some of the chat messages. Thank you, brother. And Mimi asks from sunny San Diego, thanks for answering. I'll try that Power Query index approach. Loud that pun, think outside the cell. Thank you, Mimi. And Sridevi says, how to copy paste within the same sheet once we use filtered option for the data. So Excel filters are somewhat weird. And this is, so if I have filter here and then I just filter to, let's just say New Zealand data, and we copy some things, Control C. If I paste here, so you notice what's going to happen is this is going to look quite weird. Like the paste will happen, but because certain rows are hidden, it will not look like that. So you'll see that I copied so many rows. How come only 4 are pasted? This is because it pasted the whole thing, but some of that pasting happened in the cells that are hidden due to the filter. But it still pasted the data. It's just that there. So I guess the question that you are asking is, how can I paste like that in the corresponding rows, ignoring the hidden rows? I don't think that's how the paste is built for. So I don't ever have even that need. But yeah, if you copy paste, the default behavior is like that. There is also some other shortcuts that you could use to select the visible cells only. I believe I have. Yeah, so this is a select visible cells. I think Alt semicolon will select all the visible cells. I don't really use it that much, but I had to use it once or twice. So that's why I have it on my quick access toolbar. Select visible cells, Alt semicolon. So yeah, you could try that. I don't know whether that will help you. R. Ranjan asks, how can we find summary of sales for a particular period by selecting date range only? Well, I'll show you one. So we will add a pivot. This is usually these kind of things you want to do it in a pivot table. So I will insert a pivot table while using the data model. Again, not necessary to use the data model. You could do this without data model, but it helps to kind of capitalize on some of these things if you want. Ooh, I forgot that we don't have any dates there. Well, let's just put some dates in this data. I'll make a, so you can generate a random date by, let's just make up a date in this year. This is not a formula that you will find use for in most real life situations, but I thought this is funny. So 1 Jan 2021, then today. So it will generate the date. We'll just select this, Control C, Control V. So we don't have that random formula anymore. And then you can use the shortcut Control Shift 3 to convert the cells to date format. So Control Shift 3, and we got some dates here. Now I can go to my pivot, right click and refresh. So we get that nice little date function, date as well. And I can right click on the date. I can add a timeline, which will give you that sort of a thing. And then product and amount. So this is my all amount, and I can use the timeline. And then I can pick a month, or I can drag this. This is defaulted to months, but I can go into quarters. I can go to year. I can even go to individual days, and then just select what happened in this particular week. So timeline is like a slicer, but just for dates. So it's a very interesting, powerful using which I can select and then see the results immediately. If you want, you can write a sum ifs or some other type of formula to do the same thing, but I find timelines are more fun and easy to get the answer that you want. So Rajan asks, please give any example for area function. What is an area function? Oh, I suppose you mean areas, or maybe there is some new function that I don't have access to yet. I don't even use areas. I don't remember the last time I used this function. So I really wonder what this does and if it has any real life uses. There's many functions in Excel that are there for some internal things or some very arcane purpose. They're there, but not everybody need to use it. If you use the area function, post a chat message and tell me what you use the area function for. But let's try this area function. Areas returns the number of areas in a reference. An area is a range of contiguous cells or a single cell. Okay, let's just put data here. So that's one area, I suppose. So I think we could do something here. Let's see what this area will be. Areas. I kind of have a feeling what this does. So we need to probably name the cells. So B7 I'm going to name as range 1. This as range 2. And these two cells as range 3. So we'll select all of these. So this cell has a name, this cell has a name, and these two cells also have a name. So now if I say areas of that range, no, I was expecting 3. All right, I give up. I don't want to spend time on the areas. I don't use this function. I have never used it in... At least I've never used it in all my time so far. So someone says he might mean the array function. Oh, well, array function is a more interesting one, I guess, probably. Yeah. So if it's an array function, then probably you're talking about dynamic array functions or something. And there's quite a bit of videos on my channel, so I'm not going to go into that detail. I'll see these questions. So Santosh says, Chandu Anna, can we simplify this formula to count unique values? Sum minus minus len unique filter call equal to row. Okay, I don't know what this function is actually doing, let alone to simplify it. Can you tell Santosh what it is meant to do in like what is the intended result? You tell me, I'll come back and answer that. Meanwhile, let's see what future Dr. Shishir asks. Can you please explain subtotal? Yes, I will. Subtotal is a beautiful function that I love and I use quite a lot in Excel. So I'm going to show that to you with this sample data. I'll insert a row on the top so we got some space. We'll move this logo there. So what subtotal does is by default it will let you deal with the data that is currently visible on the screen. So that means if you filter something out, it's gone. So if I have a sum function on my amount column, this is my total amount. And irrespective of what I filter, so if I right click on USA, filter by selected cell value, even though I'm looking at USA, I still see 1.24 million as my sum. What subtotal on the other hand does is subtotal, and then you will have to specify what sort of total you want. So you could say 9 for sum or 1 for average. So I'm saying 9 and then data table amount column. This number will be 189,000. So this is what a subtotal does. It will only pay attention to what is visible. The beauty is I can change this. So I can get to India and then I'll get the India total there right now. So when you are sending, someone asks you usually, hey, can you send me the data? But I also want to know some quick details. Instead of making data and pivot table, you could kind of make the data and subtotal and then send it to them so that they can see the data. But if they filter something, they'll then be able to see the sum or average or minimum or maximum like that for that filtered portion using the subtotal function. So I love subtotal. I use it quite often to improve the readability of data tables. Normally if I do, I try to put that on the top so that it's easy for me to see. And occasionally I even use a sneaky trick of selecting the row beneath my header and then from view freeze panes so that is frozen. So whatever the subtotal is always visible. And here I can just then kind of select whatever I want to immediately see what that proportion is and even calculate some percentages and things like that. So Philip says, thanks Chandu, happy holidays. You're always unquestionably awesome. See you in 22. Thank you, Philip. It was awesome to have you on the live streams quite regularly. So I hope you enjoyed all these stream fun things. And it's good to have you. And I'll see you in 2022 in another live stream. I will, of course, maybe see you in other videos that I publish from now to 2022. Okay, Tiago has got some challenge. I have a row, the first one, and I want to print this row on each page, but I have a formula in one cell of this row that needs to update. Okay. I have the, suppose that's the same message you posted twice. Why would the formula update? You mean to say the formula needs to show the total values that are printed on that page? If that's the kind of thing that you are trying to do, unfortunately the page layout print titles thing is not going to work for you, because it will always print the rows that you select irrespective of what formula is there, because that formula is not going to change based on what goes on the print. So you would need to get a bit more creative here. You will have to develop such a page and then repeat the calculations on each page. So many people don't know these things, but so I'll show you how you might be able to get what you want without using some sort of one formula fits everything kind of a thing, which is if you go to from the view, if you change to page break view, you'll see where the page breaks are happening. So let's just say in page 1, I want to print some totals that will correspond to what is shown there. In page 2, again, I want to print the totals like that. This is a table, so I can't even do anything here. But imagine, this is what you want. You can use this mouse pointer between on the dotted blue lines, and you can adjust your print area and move them around. So if you want, you can page break there. So then you can use this space here to repeat the calculation and then go like that. So this is probably an easy one. Yeah, I don't really know I don't think you can do the thing with print titles. I could be wrong, but at least as far as I know, that's not something that we could do. Okay, so Jitesh asks, can you help me with explaining about random number generator in data analysis tool pack? I don't understand Bernoulli, Poisson, etc. distribution drop down. I'm not a statistics maestro. I know enough to get around, but there are different type of number distributions in statistics. So there's Bernoulli distribution, Poisson distribution, normal distribution, uniform distribution, like that. So when you use the random number generator from there, so I guess you're referring to this, go to data, data analysis, and then from here, the random number generation. So you can pick the distribution that you want, and accordingly it will generate the numbers. So if you're not sure what a Bernoulli distribution is, it's very easy. Simply go to Google, type what is Bernoulli distribution, and then it will give you a Wikipedia article that explains in greater detail what that is. I never had to use the Bernoulli or even the Poisson distribution that much once I finished with my college statistics course. So yeah, I don't know. It has been more than 20 years since I learned about these things. So I don't know what they do anymore. But yeah, if you need to, if someone says, hey, Jitesh, give me some Bernoulli distributed numbers, then you could use this. You can read more about them and then go and make them. I do normally make both uniform and normal distributed random numbers. So you can make uniform distribution, which means each number in the random range that you specify has the same probability of coming. And this is the rand or rand between functions. So if I say rand between 1 and 100, I have the same probability of getting any number between 0 to 100, 1 to 100. Whereas if I want a normally distributed one, that means the numbers in the middle have higher probability than the ones on the edges. You could use something like normin and then random. And then let's just say the middle point is 50 and we'll put, let's just say 20 as standard deviation. So I get 77, but if I keep running this using my F9 key, the numbers will be all over the place, but there is a higher probability that the numbers are closer to 50 than they are further away from it, because 50 is the mean that we specify. So these are the two ones that I use all the time. The other ones I never use that much, so I can't really comment. Okay. Might have missed many of your questions, so we can make an exception. If you posted a question long time ago and you haven't heard from me, feel free to repost that. But I'm gonna read these things. Chef 1707, do you think Microsoft will develop more around preset dashboard templates and additional focus on easier preset templates, for example, on professional report data presentation for layperson? We might eventually get there, because that's the that is one possibility. The problem is there is so much variability between what is a preset for someone versus another person. So for example, I if you go to file and then new, you'll see that there are several templates that they offer. So try some of these. This is basically the direction they were going. There's some Gantt charts, the project plans and this and that, and you can search. They might be adding more of these. They usually have telemetry that tells them who is clicking, not who is clicking, but how often people are clicking on these and using them. And that feeds into Microsoft. So they see if something is more popular, then they'll try to build around that. Otherwise, if nobody is using certain things, then they're not going to probably bother adding more stuff. So yeah, I have no crystal ball to predict what Microsoft will do these things. Tushar asks, can we extract data from Outlook attachment like PDF? If you have Outlook attachments in a PDF format, you can extract using Power Query. I got a video on that on the channel somewhere, so feel free to check that out. Deborah says, when I use slicers, including multiple slicers per graph, I would like to see the slicer values above the graph. Is there a way to do this? Now, this takes all the way back to the cube formulas that we talked about early on. So this is one situation where I could use a cube formula to see what is being picked by the slicer. Alternatively, you could also use like a harvester pivot table technique. This sounds like a clumsy weirdo thingy, but it's basically a very, very simple technique. So I'll show this because this might be useful for many, many people. So we got our pivot table here. For the time being, I'll delete this timeline. What? I deleted you. Why are you still there on the screen? Okay. So we got this, and if I add a, I don't want product, I want to put geography and amounts. And if I add a slicer on my salesperson, and if I pick somebody, I'll get their data. This is all fairly straightforward. You understand this. You might have used this like hundreds of times already. So if I make a insert graph, I'll get this graph and the slicer. So we'll cut these two, control Z, cut these two things, and then we'll paste them here. So we got a report that is basically running behind scenes from a pivot. I can pick something, I'm seeing that person. So instead of the word total, I want to see Gunnar's sales or Brain's sale or whatever that is. So this is how I would do it. I'll copy my original pivot, paste it, delete this, and put salesperson, delete everything else. So I get a dummy pivot table just with the salesperson column. We can disable totals and subtotals. And notice that this currently says Brain, but if I go here and pick Carla, this will say Carla. So whatever you're picking, this will give you the name of the person. So from here, we can generate the title of the chart. Title is equal to this. And you can use an ampersand and then write something like sales report. So it will become Carla Molina sales report. If you don't want to, for example, print their last name, just choose the first name for if you want. You could also add some polish, like left of that, find space in F4 and then -1. So you'll get just Carla sales report, and then you can add extra stuff here like single quote S. So that will be Carla's sales report. The only thing that you may want to keep in mind is what if I clear? Now I'm looking at everybody, but this title says Bar's sales report. So here I can add an if condition. If this cell is not blank, that means you picked more than one person, then we say multiple people, else that thing. So it will become multiple people's sales report. So you could kind of polish this. Whatever it is that you're doing, you have the title. We'll put some blue color here. Notice this is I4. And then we can come to this chart, select the title. Title is equal to I4. So now I got multiple people's sales report. I'll make it nice and bold. And then I can pick whatever I want. That's the name that will show up there. But if I pick multiple people or even just two people, I'll get that one. So that's one way in which you could do it. Alternatively, you could also use cube formulas to extract the slicer value. They get a little bit clunky, so I don't normally use cube formulas unless I have to. But I've been able to just use this harvester pivot table technique to get the answer. Bharataram says, please talk about legacy Excel to dynamic arrays. That's my answer. Taking a drink of water. This is because as of now, at least there is no support to legacy Excel when it comes to dynamic array formulas or XLOOKUP or any of the new functions. I suppose there's nothing that Microsoft will do at this point to somehow release an updated version of Excel 2013 that will include support for these things, because the whole lure of these functions is so that people can say, oh, newer version has Excel has this, I might as well upgrade. So there is no, I don't know if there is enough backlash from people or everybody goes completely crazy about them, then they might actually do something. I don't even think that that's the path in which most technology moves. There's newer versions precisely for this reason, so that you can access newer features. AJ says, I have 50 columns in first sheet, 100 columns in second sheet, and in this sheet, I want to have only matched 50 columns which are in the first sheet. This is the kind of problem that you should solve using Power Query. If you do it with your hands, then they'll become very numb. I was actually reading some Excel jokes. The jokes I told so far are the ones that I made up, but this is a joke that I read online and I thought, oh, this is a good one, I should use it. So I'll tell that joke now. What do you get after a whole day of using Excel and typing numbers? Your hands will go numb. NUM. So that's the one that I read. I thought, oh, that's cool. All right. Salim says, how to create Excel macro template for daily usage example when I create pivot amounts in desired format, etc. Please advise. You don't need a macro to make the template. You can create anything as a template. So here you can see that I got a file download template. When I click on that, this creates a ready-made file for me, which has clear title, my logo, and just one worksheet. So to save the template, all you got to do is open a new file, set it up the way you want. So for example, I want all my sheets to be called as report. And I want my first row to be, I don't know, green color. And then it should say report title there, like that. And then it should be nice and big in white color. So this is my template. So whatever you want, you create, and then you go file, save as, more options. And from save as type, from Excel workbook, change to Excel template. This will change your folder automatically to a place where Microsoft keeps all the Excel templates. So if you now save the file here, so I'll show dummy template. This gets saved. You can close this. Now if you go to file new, oh no. I was wondering where the template is. Probably it's gone somewhere. Yeah, so it's in the personal and it'll be in the dummy template. If you want to see it all the time, you can just pin it and that'll go and sit in the screen there. I don't want this dummy template, so I'm not going to do that. But you can, and you can put literally anything there. You could load up your data and all of that. That's fine. Elita might sends a super sticker. Thank you, Elita. Thank you for your sticker. And Vishwanath from Hyderabad says, from Hyderabad, love. Thank you, Vishwanath. And this is Jansen. Hi, Chandu. Question is there a formula to compare rows base in column with headers for both set first name, last name, DOB columns and highlight duplicate? Okay, so you mean to say you got like 3 columns with first name, last name, DOB, and then another 3 columns with first name, last name, DOB, and you want to match them. You could do that with formula, but this will get very complicated. So this kind of thing, again, you could try and use Power Query to quickly do. But if you just want to highlight, one simple cheat technique is create a 4th column, which is just merged all the 3 values using concatenate or something, and then use that to conditional format, highlight, duplicate values like that. That might be very quick. All right, in Microsoft Excel, which tab gets created when a new chart is inserted? Are you asking a question from your school quiz? Because that's what it looks like. But if you select a chart, you will see that there is some additional tabs added on the top depending on what they are, what type of chart it is. This is a pivot chart, so it will have pivot table, pivot chart, analyze, design, and format. But usually there's design and format tabs that will appear on the tab on the top. Shikar asks, can we scrap data from net using Excel? Yes, you can. So this is my pivot chart demo. But web scraping. There are multiple ways to do it. You can use data from web option to scrape the data through Power Query into Excel. But this is very, very powerful. It gives you quite a bit of flexibility, and definitely try that. But if you just want a simple formula to read an API and get a value, you can use the web service function and then specify the URL. And then it will go to that URL, get the data from there. So for the web service to work, you need a URL that is providing the data as an XML. So it's usually for that XML endpoints kind of thing. And then that will come here. And then you can use the filter XML function to use XPath and extract the data. And there is also a encode URL function to encode the URL if the URL has spaces and stuff like that. So these three functions are available in Excel right now as a formula based route. And then you have web. On top of all of this, there is also additional functions that they keep adding. So there is a special function to get stock market data called stock history from web. And then you got your data types to get the data from Wolfram or Alpha or Alpha or whatever that is, and some other standard data sets. So for example, if I want to know what is the capital of India, New Zealand, USA, like that. So as you see, if I'm typing, it says, oh, convert these to countries. So we convert that. At this point, Excel will treat them as countries, and I can use dot capital city, and it will run a query and then get you some data. So there's quite a few powerful functions and techniques that you could use in Excel to do these kinds of things. Okay, we got Microsoft Excel Recalc or DIE. Hi Chandu, are you combining dynamic arrays with Excel charts? I know you would come up with some sick ass stuff. I have been trying. I will add more functions, more technique on my channel as a experiment and succeed. So far, the dynamic arrays are not natively supported by charts, so you'll have to go through like an extra loop. So I only use them where they're needed. But there's some very powerful things that I was able to do with that. So I'll share them as and when I get a chance. Mimi says, Chandu will consider comedy riddle master for his next YouTube channel. I'm sure all subs will welcome some Excel humor. Well, you know me. I can't just sit and Excel all the time. All right, I think we have had a very, very good session. There's quite a few questions I addressed. I'll save a copy of this file and share. I want to wrap up by jumping to my presentation quickly so I can share a few more slides with you that talk about some additional things that you may want to know. So people were asking, what are some of the other places that you could learn Excel? I mean, I've tried to answer some questions, but there was like quite a few questions that I couldn't get to. So if you have a question, or if you're thinking, Chandu is not helpful, I need more places to learn Excel, these are the places that you should go to. The channels are that I recommend are Lila's channel, Mike Girwin's channel, Excel is Fun, and Mr. Excel channel. So feel free to check them out and subscribe to them or learn from them. They will certainly help you on your journey towards Excel awesomeness. And the websites and blogs, my blog, chandu.org blog, Mr. Excel forum, and Stack Overflow for your Excel related questions and stuff. If you want to get a book or two to kind of learn Excel sit and learn Excel and get everything in one go, then I recommend getting either of these books. I have the older version of Excel Bible and even the older version of the data analysis and business modeling book with Wayne Winston. Especially this book by Wayne Winston, this one at the bottom, this is a very, very good book that goes into greater detail on how to take Excel to business world for solving real life problems. So very, very good. There's more advanced books as well, but these are the starter books that I recommend if you're looking for a book to learn. So get them. There is a link to the books in the video description. Feel free to check that out. And of course, I got my own stuff as well, which is, I did show this briefly, but if you want, do consider and enroll into the Excel School program. This is a very all-encompassing one course that will give you all the things that you want to learn in Excel. And of course, there's my channel where there's tons of Excel videos and I keep posting new videos every week. So check that out as well. You're already there, so I don't need to tell you that. And that's a little bit about how you can take the knowledge forward. But before I wrap up, I want to again take a minute to thank you all for joining this live stream, but also coming in and out throughout the year. This is the first time I have done my live streams and I've been doing them since February. And I plan to do them on the last Friday of the month for good part of next year as well. But I won't be doing the live stream in December because it's holidays and I don't want to sit in front of computer on the Christmas day. So I wish you all a very happy and safe and fun holidays. And then I'll see you in January when I do my new live stream, either January or February. I haven't really decided because we are going on a road trip in Jan. So fingers crossed, this is going to be fun. But I thought I'll conclude by saying big thanks to all. And thanks to everybody who showed up to the live stream, posted a comment, posted a message, chat, sent me the super chat or super sticker, like Shabari has here just now done. So everybody who is cheering me, supporting me, loving me, and posting positive messages, big thank you for all of that. I will still be here for next 10-15 minutes, but I thought because we are already at the close to 2-hour mark, I'll first share my closing messages. Then, if you still have some questions, I will take them. Sorry, here Paula says, that was awesome as always, Chandu, going to purchase Excel School. What a resource. Thank you, Paula. Thank you. And sorry, somebody was saying, Ankur says, please take my one question. So Ankur, go ahead and post it if you have not already done. Meanwhile, I'll see what this is. Texas says, how to combine XLOOKUP and average formula with multiple complex criteria. Data not sorted, first, last. Use a Boolean array to XLOOKUPs nested. Example, please. So this is a very, you have not told me exact specifics, but I understand what you mean. So I'm going to use my own data here to make up something and then show you one way of doing it. Now, if you are already using XLOOKUP, this is something that most of us forget. But if you are using XLOOKUP, you also have access to other powerful functions, filter, unique, etc. So you should be using them as well, rather than kind of twisting XLOOKUP in a weird way to get the answer. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So here I got my data. I'm just gonna clean it up a little bit because there's too much junk here. So this is our awesome chocolates sales data, as you can see, and we got salesperson, geography, product, and amount. So obviously this combinations, each person appears multiple times. So if I want to know, for example, Gunnar and UK as a combination, we'll copy these things, paste them there. So this is my person, that's my country, and I want to see their record. I'll disable the freeze pane, so we can just see that. So with XLOOKUP, obviously you can only look up one value. So you can look up either Gunnar or UK. So if I'm looking up Gunnar in the data salesperson column and then say data amount, I'll get the very first amount for Gunnar, which would be, where is this? 3,983. This is what I get. And same for UK alone. Not what I want is I want a combination of these two. So you might see some syntaxes on web for these kind of things. So for example, lookup. Now what we want is Gunnar and UK. So you could kind of do the Boolean thing that Texas is talking about. So you would say lookup true, where the lookup array is data person, salesperson is equal to this star data geography is equal to that. So in fact we'll just say 1. So when you do it like this will kind of generate a Boolean array, ones and zeros. It'll be 1 wherever both of them match, 0 otherwise, and then we'll look up for the 1 and then data amount. This is still useless because it's gonna say 21, which would be so the first combination is 21, so that's why it is saying 21. Now neither is useful. I want to average all the matching values. So this is where the filter comes in. You don't need to use XLOOKUP at all. You don't need to go through any of this Boolean circus. You'll simply say I want to average my data amount, where my data person is equal to Gunnar. Because it's an AND condition, you want to say star data geography is equal to UK. So what filter will do is it will give you all the amounts. These are all the combinations and you want to average them. So you will just put average around it. And then, so that's the average amount for this combination. And I can change everything. It's all parameters. So we could, for example, put India here. I'll see that. And I can put Chess Bonel. I could put Chandu here, which is not there in the data, so I'll get an error. So it works beautifully, the filter function. If you have access to XLOOKUP, by definition, you also have access to filter. So use the filter one if possible, because that will save you time. All right. Ooh, there's more questions now. So I'm gonna spend next 10 minutes and then I didn't even show you these things, but do you see this? Excel is right next to me. And that's our dog, by the way. So she's been super quiet, but I'm pretty sure she will not enjoy me talking for more than that much time. So, okay, so where are we? We are, I think I wanted to come back to someone's question, but somehow I missed that. Yeah. Yes, Ankur says, desperate to know your Indian journey in short, at least, please. I'm really a big fan of you since last 8 years. My Excel journey is purely inspired by you. Thank you so much, Ankur. Might as well just talk about it then. I mean, I don't want to go all the way back to 2003 or something when I started my website. But yeah, I started writing about Excel because I was using quite a bit of it in my work, and I thought, oh, what I'm doing seems very unique. Maybe I should mention it on my website so other people will also kind of benefit from it. But at least I have a sounding board for sharing my ideas and the fun things that I'm doing. So that's how it began, and one thing led to another, and eventually I ended up leaving my job so that I could focus this as a full-time thing of talking about Excel and data and now Power BI, sharing the information on YouTube and my website, and reaching out to people, connecting and all of that. So that's at a very, very high level what my journey is. But maybe I will give you a few more details on what is happening in the recent past. For example, there were quite a few big moments in my life, but I think the recent moment would have to be after living in India for about many years of my life, and running the business. In 2016, we all thought it would be fun to live in other parts of the world because we are getting old. The kids are getting they were about 6 years old then. So we wanted to explore and live in other parts of the world before they're too old and they're set in their ways, and we are also too old to move. So that's when we moved to New Zealand in 2016, and we have been living in Wellington, New Zealand since then. I really love it here. I feel very fortunate that we are able to come and live in a very beautiful part of the world and experience a different culture and meet different people, make friends. My kids enjoy it here. We have bought a dog into our family, and it's all fun. Of course, it still hurts a little bit for me, especially given the fact that my mom and my brother, they live in India. Joe's family, they all live in India. So we came under the assumption that we could always go back and visit them, spend time and be there when the family needs us or when there is a occasion to celebrate. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we are all locked up wherever we are. So I'm looking forward to the time when we could go back to India and hug the family members and spend some time with them. But that's a little bit about what's happening in the recent past. After moving to New Zealand, I kind of diversified a little bit into doing more consulting contract work as well, just to make connections and friends here, as well as I came to a place where I started having more hobbies and other things. So I was kind of like away from my website for some time, but I kind of rekindled that. And 2 years ago, I decided, okay, YouTube is where I will be spending most of my energy in terms of contributing and helping people become awesome in their work. So that's how the rekindled energy into my YouTube channel came up, and now I'm really happy I took that decision because I'm able to connect with audience like you, share my stories, share my information, learn from you, talk to you, and give the info. It makes everybody's life better, I guess. I have good time doing it. I hope you're having good time enjoying this. So that's a little bit about the journey. I want to thank Texas for the super sticker as well. Thank you, Texas. Let's see what else is. Angel asks, how do I protect my dashboard from user scrolling? This is a very, very good question. I will show you a sneaky trick that I use to stop people from scrolling away when I have got an important thing on my page. So let's say we got this thing here and I've made this. For a moment, I'll turn off my face so you can actually see this. So I got this, but I don't want my people to go like that. So this is what I do. I select a row that is good enough. So for example, this row number 25 or 23 or something like that. And then I go to view, freeze panes, freeze pane. So now what happens is all the scrolling can only happen bottom. The top one always stays there. So this is number one technique. But if you don't want to do it like this, another option is you can select the area that is outside the dashboard. So from row 24 onwards, there's nothing. Control Shift down arrow. You select all the rows, right click, hide them. So the spreadsheet is literally up to row 23. Likewise, column K onwards, everything, hide them. So even if they scroll, there is nothing for them to see. So they will eventually come back here. So these are some techniques that you could use to kind of just keep them on the part of the screen that they should be on. There's more messages. I would love to stay and help you as much as possible, but I'm also mindful about the time, but I'll stick around for some time. Evolve says, some says you learn Excel or other things better in job because of practicality, which is not possible. Merely doing courses on Excel or Power BI. What is your call on this? So it's a very tricky one. At least when I was learning, Excel is the only platform. So I didn't have to be like, should I spend my time and energy and even money on Excel or Power BI or Python or something else? But nowadays there is more choice. So which means there is also things that are pulling you in different directions, which can create a lot of unnecessary anxiety and confusion. What I do feel is, if you go out and get into that mindset that I have to learn everything, then that can confuse you. So instead, pick a direction and start walking. Okay, so pick anything. It doesn't really matter unless you got an interview on SQL tomorrow, then the direction you want to go is learn SQL. But otherwise, just pick anything, Excel, Power BI, Python, R, whatever you want. Just pick one thing and then just focus on that. Turn off all the distractions, cut away anything that is negative or pulling you down, and pick one or two resources. Again, there is a lot of mindless scrolling and too much information on any place you go, YouTube or blogs or books or courses. There is just literally too much. So take one or two things, pick a direction, and then stick with them, even if it is hard, even if it is not understandable. Like, it has kind of become our tendency that we put a YouTube video and then we'll pause it in 10 seconds, we'll go somewhere else, we'll do something, like open a web page, not even read the whole thing, go out and do that. This is because we have access to all of that, but this works completely against you. Like you give whatever direction you want to go, give it enough time so that you feel like you are taking that journey. So pick something and do it. Don't let the rest of the world disturb you. Instead, you close down and you just focus on that. If you have to pick one of them, and especially you are just out of college or freshly looking to learn and you have the time, then I would say maybe start off with something that is a bit more popular, like Power BI or a bit of programming, or even Excel for that matter. It doesn't really affect. But if you know which direction you want to go, because that's what the interviewers are asking for or whatever, then pick that, close off all the distractions and give it time. That will be enough. Don't constantly second guess your choice and go back and browse for more. Pick something, stick with it. Ashley says, my husband works a set schedule certain days during month. How do you formulate something to show what does he will be in the months to come? To show what does he will be on in the months to come. This is a very good question. Normally, I won't use Excel for these kind of things. I'll try to use a calendar software such as Outlook or Google Calendar or something else if there is a recurring pattern that you can configure. But I'll show you a technique that can also be useful if you have something that is very specific or very very critical, not critical, but very very unique, that you cannot use the calendar or maybe don't want to use them for whatever reason. So let's just make up your husband's schedule for the next year here. So 2022, all the dates I want in a table. If you are using modern Excel, you can do this in many different ways. I'll show you dates. I want all my 2022 dates, one date per row. So we can just say make a date where year is 2022, month is 1 and a day is a sequence of numbers from 365. Yeah, next year is not a leap year. So this will give you all the dates. And then, so you'll get all the dates in 2022 like this. And then once the dates are there, you don't have to use a formula. You can just type the dates and drag them down, and Excel will fill them down. And now you can then set up the scheduling as you see fit. So if it is haphazard, then you will go to a date and then type carpenting job, and then one more carpenting job like that. But if there is a set pattern, like every 4 days he'll go to client ABC and does the work for 2 days, and then that repeats, then you could kind of generate that sort of a thing through some sort of a formula. The formulas that you use will get a little more crazy, and this is where I find that there is not enough value with this. You might want to use a calendar option if possible, and then export to Excel through some other means for analysis if you want. But if I want to, for example, every third day or every Thursday, he will go to client ABC. So we'll put like that. This is just so, and then we could use something like weekday. Sorry. If weekday of that, and then Thursday would be 1 is Sunday, so Thursday would be 5. So if the weekdays happen to be 5, then visit ABC, else blank, and this B3 is an array formula, so I can just use it like that. So this will automatically populate that. And you don't even have to hard code this. I can just link it to a cell, so I can make this as 5 and change this to that. So I can then change the schedule to Tuesdays or Sunday or Friday or Saturday, whatever I want I can change, and that will be that. And you can complicate this formula to add extra conditions on what happens based on various things, and keep generating. As I said, I wouldn't almost use this kind of thing for anything, but yeah, this is one option that you have. Happy Life asks, please explain dollar position in index match while fetching data from many columns. Thank you. I want to, but I'm not gonna do that because I have a video that exactly does this. So I'm gonna leave the link to that. It's called How to Use Excel Reference Styles Properly. So I will copy link. And when we finish with the stream, I'm gonna put a link into the video description. But you can check that. This video basically talks about all the dollar styles and how to use and all of that. Siddharth asks, my doubt isn't strictly Excel, but still, is it possible to have dynamic data type for switch true measures in Power BI? This is a very, very specific question. I haven't tried this in a few, like almost 2 years now, but there's a couple of different things that Power BI has added. So yeah, I would recommend probably searching for this if you want to know a bit more. They have added data types for measures, I believe, or maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I watched some other thing. But yeah, search for that. You will be able to find something interesting. Ching's channel says, Chandu, please answer this question. I'm not able to get filter function in 2019. Any alternative instead of filter function? I have filter XML. Yeah, unfortunately, filter is only available in Excel 365 at the moment. I believe they might add that to 2021, but I might be wrong. So yeah, nothing we could do to get filter into Excel 2019 or 2016 or any of the other versions. This is not something that I can pull a lever and somehow you get it. It's what Microsoft decides. So we will just all have to sit back and take their policy. So if tomorrow they decide we are no longer going to have a home ribbon in Excel anymore, that's pretty much what it is. You will not have it. So unfortunately, no. Duty says, suppose we want to analyze the cost amount to achieve targeted profit for a particular sales report. Is goal seek formula helpful, or what other functions can we use? Can we please suggest? I think goal seek is a good starting point. If you have more complicated things, you might want to consider using solver. Given the fact that you already used the word goal seek in your question, I assume you know what it is and how it can be set up. So yeah, start off with that. For more complicated things, try the solver one. There is some tutorials on both my channel as well as on my website on goal seek and solver. So give them a read and then see how you can implement. Shibu says, sorry, where's this? Please guide me best path for me to learn Power BI from zero to hero. I'm not really sure if this is a zero to hero path, but I do have a course that you can consider. If you go to my website, classes, Power BI Playdate, check that out. And if you want to join, email me. That course will, the aim of that course is to take you from beginner to advanced level. There is nothing like completely learn any software, not just Power BI, not just Excel. There is no such course anywhere in the world. So whatever course you are learning, it will take you from point A to point B, but the journey continues. But have that learning mindset. So Jaipal asks, how can we set financial year in the pivot charts and tables? Not really with a direct option, but you could use like a linked table to set that up. I might have a video tutorial on my channel later on next year because we are almost at the end of the year and most my videos for the rest of the year are already done. But I will add a video on this. This is a very good topic, so I'll make a note and I will add the video. Okay, I think there's more questions, but unfortunately, if I stay here, you will keep asking, and it's already 7:30 in the morning, and I've been here since 2.5 hours now. So I'll take a leave now. Thank you so much for joining on the live stream. I hope you all had fun, and I was able to help you out, if not all of you, but at least some of you. We'll take this last question because this sounds pretty ominous. Is VBA dead? Microsoft Excel recalc or die asks this. I wish I know the answer to this, but unfortunately I don't. Microsoft seems to be ignoring VBA, if that's the right word to use, because they're not really telling us if they will pull out the plug on it, but they're not adding any new features either. Like if you go to Visual Basic Editor, and the screen looks exactly same since 2007 of Excel, or even maybe earlier. So it looks like it's not getting any love, but it is still used by millions of people all over the world. And anytime I ask people, what do you want to learn? VBA is one of the things that people want to learn. So there is still interest, and I love VBA because it's a very good language. Yeah, I think it lives. So yep, that's that. There's other questions, but unfortunately, I think I'll stop now. I will record more videos and upload, but this is my last live stream for the year. As I said, we'll see you all again in 2022. So this is my happy new year and happy holidays to you from a live stream perspective, but I'll have videos on the channel and community posts that will tell you what's happening in the holidays. So thank you all for joining, and enjoy your rest of the evening or weekend. I'm gonna go downstairs, relax for a bit, and then take my daughter for a cricket game, and spend rest of the evening enjoying. Thank you. Bye.